And now, Mike's thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me get this straight. Let me make this perfectly crystal clear in my head somehow, some way. A grand jury says no indictment for Jimmy Ward. The jury of our peers said Jimmy Ward is not guilty of his charges, but yet this man is still stuck on the commissioner's exhibit list. Can't practice, can't play, and is getting his name dragged through the mud for months now. That's the NFL's problem right there. They love to throw guys into this purgatory where they'll say, oh, we're monitoring the situation. Meanwhile, his career, his reputation is all sitting on ice on a hot summer day. Now, don't get me wrong. These accusations were and are serious. Anytime you hear the words violent assault in front of a child, alarms go off. Nobody is brushing that aside. But if a grand jury hears the evidence and decides that there's no probable cause, then what are we doing keeping this guy off the field? That's the legal system saying there wasn't enough to move forward. Innocent until proven guilty, right? Unless you play in the NFL, where it's guilty until Roger Goodell says otherwise. And let's not ignore the fact that Jimmy Ward still isn't in the clear. There's still a lawsuit for $20 million. That's the civil court and a whole different ballgame where accusations alone can drag on for years and damage the player's reputation forever. Even if he wins that, the stain still never goes away. Fans will remember the headlines, not the outcome. Oh, and then we get to August for drinking alcohol when he wasn't supposed to. That's just dumb. That's flat out dumb, Jimmy. Why would you do that? Now, you know the terms of your release, and even if you didn't, ignorance doesn't fly when you're a pro athlete under the microscope. That's on him. That's the kind of sip up that gives fuel to the people who think you're already guilty. But guys, here's the real issue. The NFL needs to pick a side. Either trust the legal system or don't. Stop pretending you're above the law while holding players hostage on this commissioner exemption list in limbo. If Jimmy Ward was indicted, fine, keep him off the field. But if the court says there's no probable cause, then let him get back to work, because right now it feels the NFL is more worried about his optics to the PR than justice. So here's the bottom line. Jimmy Ward either deserves to move on with his career or he doesn't. But the NFL can't keep hiding behind ongoing review BS. Man, while the man's future is hanging in the balance. That's hypocritical, it's messy, and exactly what fans don't trust Roger Goodell how he's handled these cases. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? Welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk, guys. Your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk. I'm so glad you're rolling us with us today. But before we jump into too far today's show, guys, head over to manhourradio.com. That's where you can find the exclusive merchandise, check out the blogs, and everything's happening with the show. So if you're rocking with the Man Hour, that is this place to rep it. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the hype button as well, share it with a couple friends, and remember to subscribe so you never miss a live, interactive show. That's the easiest way to plug into us. Now, if you want the full experience, if you want the live, the raw, the uncut experience, always become a Big Sam Pundit. That is our members-only community where you get free entry into the NFL weekly pick'ems, giveaways, exclusive merchandise, and of course, bonus live streams coverages that only our Pigskin Pundits get. So if you're all about that next level access, guys, join the squad. Now remember, this is a live, interactive show, so feel free to talk your shit down in the comments below. So guys, we do got a great show for you guys lined up today. We are going to talk about underachieving teams, the teams that are 0-2 right now, that is the Kansas City Chiefs, the Houston Texans, Chicago Bears, Miami Dolphins, Tennessee Titans, and Cleveland Browns. And then we got some overachieving teams. Those are 2-0 teams, right? Those are the Cincinnati Bengals, the Indianapolis Colts, Chargers, and 49ers. Guys, we are going to talk about which teams are Fugazi and which teams are the real deal today. But we got to get our first comment in for the day, and my man James Parker's in the chat. What's up, James?
The 49ers are far from being up to strength. They are going to get stronger and stronger as rookies adapt and starters return.
So basically, James is trying to jump the gun here a little bit because we're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers, but James is saying that the 49ers are far from being the most overrated 2-0 team, the most Fugazi team out there. James Parker, when we go around to Fact and Crap, and we talk about your San Francisco 49ers, I got some surprise for you. I got some surprises for you, 100%, guys, but we got to start off at the top. We're going to start with the 0-2 teams, and that are, the first one is up, the Kansas City Chiefs, guys. A lot of people are out there already counting them out after the 0-2 start, saying this dynasty is dead, Mahomes isn't enough, saying the defense is broken, the offense is broken, and I'm here to tell you right now, guys, the Kansas City Chiefs are still going to make the playoffs. I'm here to tell you right now that the Kansas City Chiefs are about to get hot. I'm telling you right now that this is what I've been telling you guys since June. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to start off slow, 2-4, 0-2 to start the season. Now, let's not get it twisted. I'm not blind with the issues. I'm not blind to see that Travis Kelce had 2 wide open catches that he dropped. I'm not blind to the fact that the offense has not scored over 20 points yet this season. I am not blind to the fact that we are in a bend, don't break defense as of right now. But let's be real. Through the first 2 weeks of the season, this team did look disjointed, right? Offensively, there's no clear identity. The design running game, it's dead last in explosiveness. 24 in EPR per attempt, no real chunk plays on the ground. In fact, the longest run so far this season has gone just 11 yards. That doesn't scream scary anybody. That does not scream scary to anybody. And the passing game, it's not like the deep strike unit we remember, right? Mahomes is letting it fly more, but he's hitting it at one of the lowest deep rates in the league since 2023. He missed Thornton on what would have been a 75-yard touchdown bomb against Philly. That's the type of plays that Kansas City Chiefs used to make on a live, and right now is just not there, right? Defensively, Spags is sending blitzes like crazy. 3rd highest rate in the league, but only generating pressure at 23rd best rate in the NFL. And when you blitz and you don't get home, you make average quarterbacks look like Josh Allen. You make Josh Allen look like a back-to-back-to-back MVP. That's why the Kansas City Chiefs rank near the bottom 10 of the EPA per play allowed and QBR against. So, yeah, they've got problems. But let's not forget about the injuries. Rashid Rice is suspended. Xavier Worthy is banged up. And Travis Kelce is pushing 36 years old. This team right now has no core strength to hang his hat on, and that is a big thing. But here is the thing. The Kansas City Chiefs, guys, always start slow. I'm going to repeat that. Excuse me. The Kansas City Chiefs always start slow. And then around week 6, week 7, week 8, they flip the switch. They're ready to go. Historically, this is when Mahomes and Andy Reid figure things out. The offensive line gels, and then play calling tightens up. And the defense, while it's a bend, don't break, they start focusing on key turnovers. Also, the schedule softens up as well. They got a tough stretch with the Ravens, Lions, Commanders, and Bills before the Week 10 bye. But after that, smooth sailing, baby. Players will be coming back. Rashid Rice, Xavier Worthy should be healthy and back in the mix. Their running game may never be dominant, but it always has to be just be functional, right? And Mahomes, we know he's capable of taking over. Remember last week, scrambled for 66 yards, the second highest of his career. When he starts using his legs, defense have to adjust, and that will open up things clearly. Now, let's not forget, 3 teams have started 0-2 and won the Super Bowl. The 1991 Dallas Cowboys, when they got Emmitt Smith back. The 2001 Patriots turned to Tom Brady. And the 2007 Giants looked like the worst defense in football before they flipped the switch and went on the run. Guys, the Chiefs, they've been there before. They know how to weather the storms. They know how to survive stretches when they look average or below average. And when the calendar turns November, when it turns December, they get hot, and they always stay hot. Mahomes has never missed the playoffs in his career as a starter, and I don't see this being the first time ever. So yes, guys, my answer is yes, the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. It won't be pretty. Matter of fact, it's probably going to be one of the ugliest seasons that we've seen in a very, very long time. It always won't look dominant, but you know what? They will always be there. So guys, in the comments below, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that the Kansas City Chiefs are done? Or do you think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid will pull off another turnaround and sneak into the playoffs? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we are live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/man hour. So let's go ahead and shift gears. Let's shift gears and talk about the Houston Texans. Now, the Texans fans are frustrated, and rightfully so. This team right now is 0-2. And what makes this thing even more is they're just a couple of ways from being 2-0. Week 1 against the Rams, they were in the red zone with a chance to win, and Dare fumbles it away. Week 2, on Monday Night Football against the Bucs, 4th and 10, you got Baker Mayfield dead to rights, and somehow he scrambles for the first down, extends the drive, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers steal it. That's 2 games lost by a combined of 6 points. But here's the problem. It's just not the record. It is how the Texans are losing. The Texans devoted every resource this offseason in fixing the offensive line, and 2 weeks in, it looks like nothing has changed. They shipped out Tunzel, Green, Shaq Mason, and brought in Ken Robinson, Trent Brown, Laken Tomlinson, Jake Andrews, and Irsay. It's all been a mess. Robertson bench, Andrews hurt, Tomlin's getting tossed around like a rag doll, and the blitzes just keep blowing them up. CJ Stroud has no chance when the guys are literally on the ground in front of them. Yes, CJ Stroud is a pretty damn good quarterback, but you still need a little bit of time. And defense know this as well. The Rams overloaded them in week 1. The Bucs used every Todd Bowles trick in the book. Late stems, slot blitzes, coffee house stunts, and CJ Stroud got eaten alive. Guys, this is the same exact problem that they had last year in the playoffs against the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't tell me the Texans fixed their offensive line when they're giving CJ Stroud no answers or free rushers. Now let's talk about the game. Nick Chubb did break a 25-yard touchdown run against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Outside of that, nothing. Outside of that, they literally did nothing. Nicholas Chubb. Through 2 weeks, the Houston Texans ranked 31st in the league in run success rate on early downs at 29%. That means CJ Stroud is living in second and long, third and long. On 16 of their 18 drives this season, he has faced 9 or more yards to go, nearly half of their downs, and second and third are 9+. This is a death sentence for any offense. And let's just be honest here, guys. The AFC South is no cupcake anymore. The Colts are 2-0. The Jaguars are right there. The last season, the Texans went 5-1 in the division and lived off winning one-score games. They finished 10-7, but they were just an average team statistically. They overachieved. That kind of formula doesn't carry on forever. So, guys, think about this. These are my thoughts. I do not think that the Houston Texans will make the playoffs this season after this 0-2 start. If the ball bounces the other way against the Colts in the last 2 seasons, we're not even talking about back-to-back playoff appearances, let alone three-peat. They're living on borrowed time, and now it's catching up to them. Yes, CJ Stroud is a solid quarterback. Yes, they have some star power on defense, but until this offensive line gels, until they prove they can actually run the football, this is going to be the same frustrating Houston Texans team we saw the last year and the year before out, only without lucky bounces. So, guys, do you guys think that the Houston Texans will make the playoffs this season? My answer is no. I think the Texans are not winning the AFC South. I think the Texans are not making the playoffs in 2025. The last 2 seasons, they simply overachieved. Colts running back catches the ball out of the backfield. CJ Stroud does not go to the playoffs his rookie season. Anthony Richardson doesn't tap out last season because he's tired. The Texans don't go to the playoffs the next season. But what do you guys think? Are the Texans just unlucky right now? Or are they finally being exposed for overachievers they've been the last 2 seasons? Let me know in the comments down below. My man, Alpha Rob says, what up, bot? What's up, Alpha Rob? The Texans are not good. They're not. Where is Mel and Mike when you need them? The Texans are not good. They've overachieved, and oh, by the way, they're overachieving now, even at the 0-2 record. Yes, they battled the Rams. Yes, they battled the Bucks. I believe they're both in my top 10. So you got to give them a little bit of credit, right? No. Trash. Oh man, Rivers in the chat today. What's up, man?
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
He says yes to Mike Tomlin theory. What is the Mike Tomlin theory? Just good enough, just make to the playoffs? So you think the Texans are just good enough to make it to the wild card? Is that what you're saying, old man River? Are those the vibes that I'm getting? See if I'm on the right page or not. I'm just curious. But let's move on. Well, what is that? Got an eyelash in my mouth. That's weird. Eyelash in my mouth. Weird. But guys, let's talk about the Chicago Bears and their 0-2 start. Guys, the Ben Johnson era has kicked off with excitement. Week 1, they marched down the field, opening drive, touchdown. Woo, here we go, Super Bowl, baby, Chicago Bears. For the first 3 quarters of week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings, it looked like the Bears finally had turned the corner. They had a 91% win probability heading into the fourth quarter, and then it all unraveled. They lost that game to a rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, of the Minnesota Vikings. And then week 2, the Detroit Lions absolutely curb stomped them. Not once, not twice, but 3 times back to back to back. What felt like dying of the new era quickly turned like the same old Chicago Bears. Now, guys, let's be crystal clear on this. The Ben Johnson hire wasn't about wins and losses in year 1, so they say. It's about Caleb Williams. The Bears had to get their 2024 number 1 pick right after a brutal rookie year. And the truth is, Caleb Williams is better. He's not fixed yet, but he has improved. His QBR is up more than 14 points from last season. He's making better reads, and he's clearly more comfortable in the pocket. He still has moments of this hero ball BS that he likes to play, like that prayer of a pick against the Lions on 2nd and 32, but he has shown real growth so far this season. The problem in Chicago? Literally everything else. Everything else in Chicago is on fire. The running game is non-existent. DeAndre Swift, who the Bears paid like a lead back, looks like what he's always been. A change the pace type of guy. Not him. They're dead last in EPR per dime runs and 30th in success rate. Without a consistent ground game, everything falls back on Caleb Williams, and that's not a recipe for success in Chicago. And his offensive line? Yes, it's still a work in progress. They lead the league in false starts with 6, even though they've invested in the interior defense and still finding free rushers up the middle. Even when you have a young quarterback, the last thing you want is unblocked defenders in the face, especially when you have a young quarterback, I should say. Then there's a defense, if you want to call it that at this point. After a strong 3 quarters in week 1, they have legit fell apart. They ranked 31st in EPA per play allowed, ahead of only the Miami Dolphins. Are dog shit. Let's just be honest. The secondary is a disaster. Jalen Johnson is out indefinitely. Kyler Gordon hasn't played, and relying on Stevenson, McLeod, Wright against the Lions. Stevenson and Wright both allowed perfect passer ratings when they were targeted. That's not a bend, don't break. That's a total collapse of a defense. Because of that secondary, they can't play man. Because they can't play man, they can't blitz. Because they can't blitz, they can't generate pressure. Because they can't generate pressure, they lose games by 50-plus points. It is a vicious cycle that leaves their corners exposed more and more and more each and every week. And let's not forget, Ben Johnson is still learning how to be a head coach. His game management has been questionable at West, wasting a challenge on a fumble that was never going to be overturned, mishandling the kickoff before the 2-minute warning. It's rookie mistakes. He'll learn, but right now, those mistakes matter in close games. So where does this leave Chicago? Seriously, where does this leave Chicago? The truth is, guys, this is a rebuild in process. Caleb Williams was showing signs of improvement, which is the most important thing for the long-term future, but this team has not built to compete in 2025. The run game isn't there. The defense is falling apart, and they're simply not ready to make that postseason push. So, guys, the question is, will the Bears make the playoffs after the 0-2 start of this NFL season? The correct answer is not this year. But here's the bright side, Bear fans. There is a little bit of bright side if you are in Chicago. Caleb is developing. He's already more polished, more comfortable, and showing better decision-making than he did the whole entire 2024. The flashes are there. The anticipation throws are there. The pocket movement is there. The double move dime to Romeo Odunze is there as well. If Chicago builds the right roster around him and gets the running game fixed in 2026, they could finally be the year they flip things. This season might be rough, but it's laying groundwork for the future. But what do you guys think? Are the Bears just a year away from turning the corner, or are we looking for another long cycle of mediocrity in Chicago? Guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com/manhour. Now, this is a live interactive show, so comment down below. And let's get into the comments, guys, and discuss your thoughts. Old Man River says they hyped, but it's still another season away. Guys, how frustrating must it be being a Chicago Bears fan? You legitimately did everything right this offseason. You went and got your offensive line. You went and strengthened up the defense. You thought DeAndre Swift was the man. Yes, your receiving core could have maybe used an extra person, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But you're still a season away. And matter of fact, you might even be 2 seasons away. Hyping up this offseason, playoffs, Super Bowl for the last 2 seasons, to be 0-2, going to be 0-3 after the first 3 games, that is tough. But Alpha Rob says they're going to be looking for another quarterback by the next season. Alpha Rob says Caleb Williams is not him. He's a never has been and never was. Isn't that what they say on the replacements? Flacco, you ain't never even has been. You ain't never was. Let me ask you this, guys, this question. Just a generalized term question here. What about Caleb Williams, for one, don't you like, Alpha Rob? And number 2, why don't you think he will be successful? I understand why a lot of people do not like Caleb Williams, because he marches to the own beat of his drum, right? Painting his fingernails, wearing the purse, that kind of thing, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But besides that, why don't you like him? His field presence to me seems pretty well. Every time he has a little bit of time, he does well. You would think by all those offensive linemen that they paid, they would be okay. But the question is, guys, after the 0-2 start, do you think the Chicago Bears are going to make the playoffs? No, says Old Man River.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
And Alpha Rob, let's see if I can bring up Coach Rowe here. See if we can make Coach Rowe work. What is he going to say?
No. Oh, no. No. Oh, no. No.
That is what you guys are saying about Chicago Bears potentially making the playoffs. No. 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 And Alpha Rob says Caleb Williams just doesn't think he's that good. That's fair. That is fair. Whatever your eyes tell you, if you do not believe him and you don't, and if he doesn't pass your eye test, I mean, like that is what it is. And that is what I like. Just like, you know what? He just doesn't tickle my pickle. Doesn't pickle my pickle. But guys, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Man, if you follow this team the last couple of weeks, if you follow the Miami Dolphins at all this season, it feels like they've gone through a whole season worth of drama already in just the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. We have had a disgruntled star wide receiver. We've had a players-only meeting. We had a blowout loss and then a blown fourth quarter lead against the divisional rival at home, all in just 2 weeks. And the biggest conversation around Miami right now is who is leading first? Is it Tyreek Hill or Mike McDaniel? Tyreek Hill, Mike McDaniel. Who gets traded first? Who gets fired first? Who gets cut first? Now, I don't think moving on from either of them makes much sense at this moment. Let's just be honest. Tyreek Hill is clearly frustrated, and yeah, the locker room morale isn't exactly sky high after the team basically ignored his request to be traded at the end of last season. But let's just be honest. This offense has no chance of getting any better without Tyreek Hill on the field. As for Mike McDaniels, he's probably coaching on borrowed time for this season. If the season keeps heading south, he's coaching on borrowed time. That seat's getting hotter and hotter and hotter each and every time they lose. We all know Stephen Ross doesn't exactly keep coaches around when things go bad. But if change happens, it'll be in the offseason, not right now. So the question is, guys, is there any hope for the Miami Dolphins? Week 2 against the Patriots at least gave them a little bit, right? After the complete disaster against the Indianapolis Colts in the opener, the offense actually showed signs of life. They put up 20 points on 8 drives. Tyreek Hill had 109 yards receiving and finally a 40-plus yard catch. His first in over a year. And Miami came within inches, literally inches, a Devon Achane footstep of scoring the go-ahead touchdown and with just over a minute to play. That's a major step in the right direction, but the truth is it still wasn't enough. Guys, here's the problem in Miami. This isn't the same old Dolphins team we saw in 2022 and 2023. Back then, they had Armstead protecting Tua's blind side. They had Robert Hunt shoring up the interior, and the run game could be absolute dominant at times. Now, Armstead retired. Hunt left for Carolina. Right tackle Austin Jackson is already on IR, and Tua's blind side is being protected by Larry Bravo, a former Bears backup. And we know how bad the Chicago Bears line is with their starters, and he was a backup. That exactly does not extreme stability in Miami. And the run game has fallen apart as well. Guys, Miami is 31st in EPA per design run since the start of 2024. They looked good for stretches against Indy in week 1, but then they fell behind and they abandoned it. Mike McDaniel basically turned Achane into an every down back, which gives their most talented runner touches, but also puts a ton of wear and tear on the 5'9", 190-pound back. That's not sustainable. And defensively, it is ugly. Miami invested in their pass rush, Chop Robertson, Zach, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, but it hasn't shown up. They're 29th in pressure rate. This is the fourth highest blitz rate in the league, and whose blitzes don't hit home, quarterbacks are carving them up. Opponents QBR against the blitz, 27th. And with how bad the corners have been, that is a nightmare. Look, I want to give them a little patience after week 1 because the schedule looked manageable. But one of those easy games, one of those games they're supposed to win at home, the digital rival New England Patriots, they lost it. And now you got Buffalo next, which is playing right now. If they lose to the Buffalo Bills and then drop games to the Jets or Panthers right after this, this might completely come off this thing. Some would still argue they already have. But guys, here's my thoughts on this. The Dolphins are in serious trouble right now. The offensive line is a mess. The run game is non-existent. The defense is blitzing itself into exhaustion, and the locker room is simply divided. Could they turn it around? Sure. Still got 16, 17 weeks left of this NFL season. But the chances are Miami making the playoffs this year are slim to none. Matter of fact, I guarantee you they will not make the playoffs this season. I guarantee you Tyreek Hill and Mike McDaniels is gone by the end of the season. I guarantee you we are going to see somebody besides Tua at quarterback by the end of the season. But what do you guys think? Is still early season drama what the Dolphins can recover from? Or is this the beginning of a complete collapse in Miami like I'm predicting? Subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, guys, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com. Now, this is a live, interactive show, so comment down below. But next up, let's talk about the Tennessee Titans. Now, Titans fans, you guys had hope coming into the season. Hope and hype was sky high in Tennessee. Cam Ward could be the spark that lifted this team out of the basement the way C.J. Stroud did in the Texans in 2023 or way Jaden Daniels carried the Commanders in 2024. But 2 weeks in, reality has hit the Titans hard. Cam Ward is dead last in the NFL in QBR at 19.8. 19.8. He's averaging just 2.8 yards per dropback. That ranks 624th out of 625 quarterbacks who has started the first 2 games of the NFL season since 2007. The only guy worse than that, Blaine Gabbert, back in 2013. That's not the company you want your number 1 pick to keeping up with. Now, I don't think Cam Ward has actually been that bad. The arm talent is obvious. He's throwing nearly 9 yards air per attempt, so it's not like he's dinking and dunking. He's trying to push the ball down the field. The problem is he's only hit 5 of 24 attempts of 10-plus yards. That's got to improve. And if in the sacks, running backwards like he's playing backyard ball, and is clearly learning the hard way that this isn't college football anymore. But here's the bigger issue, the offensive line. This was supposed to be the strength of the team. They invested heavily on the offensive line, and yet it is a mess. It is terrible. Moore gave up the most sacks in the league last season. In just 2 games in 2025, he's already given up 3 more with 12 pressures. 7 of those picks, quick ones, Latham could give up a sack and 2 pressures before going into a hip injury, and his backup has been just as bad. Between Moore, Latham, and Udat, they've already given up 4 sacks and 10 pressures in just 2 games. You can't trust your tackles. You can't lean on play action. That limits the entire offense. That limits the entire Tennessee Titans. Guys, and let's be real. The receivers are not exactly striking field in the defense as well. If you're keeping 6 or 7 guys in the block, that's fewer options for the quarterback who's already struggling to compete a pass. This is why Cam Ward looks like he's drowning, because everything around him is collapsing. Now, I will say this. This defense has actually been solid, at least for 3 quarters. Through the first 3 quarters, they ranked 14th in EPR per play allowed. By the 4th, they drop all the way down to the 28th. Fatigue sets in, and opponents poured it on late. Still, Jeffrey Simmons has been a monster. 7 pressures leading to 2 leading to turnovers. Cody Barton and Cedric Gray are making plays at linebacker, including Barton's pick of Matthew Stafford last week. The front has shown flashes of being very, very disruptive and very, very great. Special teams, believe it or not, one of the worst units the last 2 seasons. This year, they're leading the NFL in special teams DVOA. Joey Style is a perfect on 8 field goals, including 3 50-plus yard bombs. They're making plays like Dyke's 71-yard kickoff return that set up points, and fumbling muff punts to flip the field position. That is keeping them in games. But at the end of the day, 2025 is all about Cam Ward. And right now, it looks like this year is less about chasing the postseason and more figure out how to keep harnessing his talent. Callahan has to scheme things to protect him, simplify reads, and take some of the weight off his shoulders. The schedule won't do him any favors either. Colts, Texans, and then more tough defenses coming up as well. But eventually, the schedule will soften up, and we'll see Cam Ward settle in. So, guys, the question is, even though the Titans are starting off 0-2, are they going to make the playoffs? Guys, the Titans aren't making the playoffs. Not this year. This year's about growth. This year's about a first overall pick again. This year's about Cam Ward learning how to play in the NFL. It's about the Titans figuring out what they want to do moving forward. That is my opinion. What do you guys think? Is Cam Ward in over his head right now, or do you see enough flashes to believe the Titans got their quarterback of the future? Subscribe, hit the like button, and we are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. What's up, Derek? I see you, big guy. I see you. But guys, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. If this team was ever going to sneak into the playoffs in 2025, we knew it was going to be on the back of their defense. It was the formula in 2023 when they went through 5 different quarterbacks and still found a way into the postseason because Jim Schwartz's unit was elite. But doing this without linebacker Jeremiah and then cornerback Martin Emerson Jr., who are both out for the year, was always going to be an uphill climb. At first, it actually looked like they might pull it off again. They held the Bengals to 17 points in week 1. In week 2 against the Ravens offense that had torched Buffalo, they only gave up 10 points in the first half. Through the first 6 quarters of the season, the Browns defense looked like it was carrying over that 2023 magic. But then the bottom fell out. The Ravens lit them up for 24 points in the second half, plus a scoop of score. Yes, some of that was on Joe Flacco handing Baltimore short fields, but let's be real. Once Denzel Ward went down with cramps, the secondary was exposed. Lamar Jackson picked on Cameron Mitchell over and over again, throwing 3 touchdowns in his direction and exploiting his zone for a 4th. Last year, there was no easy targets in the secondary. This year, there is. Now, there's still some positive. Myles Garrett looks every bit of a monster we knew he was. Rookie Mason Graham has had flashes in size. And Isaiah McGuire has been one of the best young edge rushers in football so far, ranking near the top of the league in pass rate, win rate. The defensive line is not the problem. It's the corners. Without Emerson, this group is thin. And against elite quarterbacks, they just can't hold up. On the other side of the ball, nobody really expected much. And the offense is delivering exactly that. Not very much. Joe Flacco's magical run at the end of 2023 has earned him another shot, but he has been close to that level. He hasn't been close to that level. His QBR for the first 2 weeks, 36.7, which ranks 28th in the league. When he's protected, he's okay. But under pressure, he looks exactly what he is. A 39-year-old quarterback with 13,000 snaps of mileage. Against the Ravens alone, he went 6 for 18 for just 24 yards when under pressure. That is brutal. On the bright spot, rookie tight end Harold Fenton Jr., that kid can play. He's already got 12 catches for over 100 yards, and he's moving like wideouts at times. He hit 19 miles an hour against the Ravens, a speed only 5 other tight ends in the NFL have hit this year. Pair him up with David Njoku, and suddenly you got something special. In fact, the Browns run with 2 tight ends. They have had 46% success rate this season. When they run 3 wide, that success rate drops to 34%. Their best offense right now is leaning on those tight ends that keep things short, controlled, and physical. But let's not sugarcoat this. The road ahead for the Browns is terrible. Their next 4 games are against the Packers, Lions, Vikings, and Steelers. Then you got 3 AFC East matchups, and that they don't pull up an upset of one of those NFC teams, they'll be buried before they even hit the midseason. So, guys, here's the question. Will the Browns make the playoffs this season after the 0-2 start? Guys, the Browns are not making the playoffs this season. The Browns aren't making the playoffs next season. The Browns are not making the playoffs the season after that. Yes, they got a dominant edge rusher in Myles Garrett and some nice young pieces in McGuire and Fenton. But with Joe Flacco at quarterback, a broken secondary, and a brutal schedule, this team is going to slide downhill fast. But what do you guys think? Are the Browns just a couple pieces away, or is it the start of another long, ugly stretch in Cleveland? Alpha Rob says not this year, or next year, or the year after that, or the year after that, or the year after that. Derek says Cam Ward needs Tyreek Hill. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Keep that cancer in Miami. Keep that cancer in Miami. But guys, now it's time for a little thing we call fact and a little bit of crap. All right, folks, so as we start to wind down the show, we're not quite done yet. There's time for some final segments, some 2-0 teams out there, the Bengals, the Colts, Chargers, and 49ers. So here's the deal. We're going to ask if they're the real deal, if they're Fugazi. If we like them, it's fact. If we don't like them, it's a whole lot of crap. We're going to separate the real teams from the fake teams, cut through the hype, and shoot out the BS. Because if it's legit, we're all about it. If they're pure garbage, we're calling them out. So guys, grab your popcorn because it's about to get real, because it is time to separate these 4 teams that are 2-0 from the true contenders, or are they pretenders? That is what it comes down to, guys. That's what it comes down to. And the first factor crap of the day, guys, is the Cincinnati Bengals. So guys, the question is factor crap. Are the Bengals the worst 2-0 team in the NFL right now? Now, guys, as this is factor crap, in today's segment, it's a spicy one. Are the Bengals a 2-0 team right now? Are they the worst in the NFL? Let's break it down. First off, guys, the Bengals are 2-0. It hasn't been pretty. In week 1 against the Browns, they managed just 141 yards of total offense, the fewest in Zach Taylor's entire tenure. Joe Burrow himself even admitted, we stole one. That's not exactly a vote of confidence from your leader out there. And then week 2 against the Jaguars, Burrow went down with a turf toe injury. He is out for 3 months because he required surgery. In which this means this team is rolling forward with Jake Browning under center. And Browning, while gutsy, threw 3 interceptions in that game alone. Yes, he led a comeback. Yes, they did win the game, but it was messy. But let's talk about this running game as well. The Bengals are just averaging 2.4 yards per carry. Guys, that is dead last in the NFL. You cannot survive like that when your franchise quarterback is on the sideline. Pair that with the offensive line, who has ranked higher than 27th in pass block win rate since Joe Burrow entered the league. You got major, major problems. The old line is still letting defenses tee off on their quarterbacks. So, guys, if you are in for the facts on this, yes, they are the worst team. I can see that. You have no Joe Burrow for the next 3 months minimum. You have an anemic running game, the worst in the NFL. You have a terrible offensive line and an ugly offensive showing where the wins feel like losses. But hold on. There's still another side of this. Defensively, the Bengals have been legit. ESPN and PFF both have them ranked second in the NFL in QBR allowed. They're also tied for second in interception, and that's without relying on heavy blitzes. This defense is holding its own and keeping them in games. And to be fair, a win is a win at the end of the day. They are 2-0 despite these losses. Jake Browning, for all of his mistakes, still went 21 for 32 for 241 yards and 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville and delivered the go-ahead drive in crunch time. So, guys, here is my verdict. I am saying crap. Yes, the Bengals have glaring problems. Yes, losing Joe Burrow stinks in their long-term ceiling. But the worst 2-0 team, it doesn't quite fit the narrative as of right now. The defense is still too strong, and they still have shown ability to steal wins under pressure. Matter of fact, Browning went 4-3 the last time he was in there. Winning ugly still counts in the standings. A win is a win and a win. And right now, they're surviving better than some might think. But what do you guys think? Are the Bengals the worst 2-0 team in the NFL? Or are they just finding ways to survive until Burrow comes back? Subscribe. Hit the like button, guys. Remember, we're live Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. East Coast time. Next up on the Old Factor Crap. Next up on the Old Factor Crap, guys, it's the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, those Colts. Those 2-0 Indianapolis Colts. So, guys, the question is Factor Crap. Are the Indianapolis Colts the worst 2-0 team in the NFL right now? We got a little bit of fact and a little bit of crap. On one hand, guys, you can make the case for the fact. Week 2 against the Broncos, they needed a miracle finish. Their kicker missed a 60-yard field goal, but a controversial leverage penalty gave them another shot, and he drove the 45-yarder game field goal. Without that winner, the Indianapolis Colts are sitting at 1-1. That doesn't scream dominance. However, they're still pretty good. And then the real concerns have been their red zone efficiency hasn't been great. Yes, the Colts move the ball, but too often they're settling for field goals instead of touchdowns. That's dangerous against better competition. And then add in some injuries issues like Tyler Warren battling a toe issue and offensive depth questions, you can see why the critics aren't convinced that they are a very, very good team. But calling them the worst 2-0 team, I am not buying it. And here's why. Through the first 2 weeks, guys, the Colts have actually led the league in drive success rate and points per drive. They're moving the ball. They're converting first downs and sustaining possessions better than anyone out there. Daniel Jones has looked completely different quarterback since joining the Indianapolis Colts. Matter of fact, he has over 580 passing yards, a strong yards per attempt average, and he's taking care of the football. Everything to be successful. And then there's JT, Mr. Jonathan Taylor himself. He looks like himself again. The run game has balance, and they're keeping defenses honest. Remember, this is also the Colts' first 2-0 start since 2009. Actually, 2013, I do believe. There's real momentum in the building. And don't forget, week 1, they dominated the Miami Dolphins, 33-8. That was no fluke. They came out there, and they totally waxed that ass, baby. So, yeah, they've got cracks. The Broncos win was a little shaky one. The red zone finishing has to get better, and we'll see how deep this roster really is when the schedule starts to toughen up. But the worst 2-0 team? Come on, man, I'm calling that crap. The Colts have shown too much balance, too much efficiency, and too much momentum to be at the bottom of the undefeated pack. Let me ask you guys this question. Fact or crap? Are the Colts just pretending at 2-0, or are they proving that they belong in the NFL's early surprises? Fact or crap? All right, guys, so it's time for the next fact or crap, and we're going to talk about the LA Chargers. Are they the worst 2-0 team right now in the NFL? Now, on the surface, I see you haters out there, and you can say fact. The Chargers just lost Khalil Mack to an elbow injury. He is on IR. That's a massive blow to the pass rush. Their run game hasn't exactly been dominant either. Hamilton and Najee Harris have combined for the modest production, averaging just over 3 yards per carry. If you take away Justin Herbert's arm, you start to wonder how balanced the team actually really is. And it's true. A lot of their success, all of their success have come from Justin Herbert's playing lights out. The receivers making plays and the defense coming up with big turnovers at crucial times. That's great when it's working, but if it's a thin margin, if any of those things start to fall off. But here's the problem. Calling them the worst 2-0 team, it doesn't line up to me with what I'm seeing on the field. Justin Herbert has been elite to start the season. 560 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of nearly 128. That's top shelf quarterback play. This defense has also stepped up when it mattered. Against the Raiders in week 2, they picked off Geno Smith 3 times and held Vegas to single digits on the scoreboard and made big plays in the red zone on 4th down as well. That's not a profile of a team barely surviving. And remember, this isn't a team scrapping by lucky breaks either. They have controlled the games. Their passing attack looks explosive, and they're sitting at the top of the AFC West. Power rankings across the board have them as a top 5 undefeated team, and analysts are already talking about Justin Herbert leveling up in Jim Harbaugh's system. So, guys, fact or crap? Are they the worst 2-0 team? It's 100% crap. The Chargers are not the worst 2-0 team. They got some holes, sure. The run game isn't great. Losing Max sucks, yes. And they'll need to prove that they have depth on defense, but worse, not even close. They're showing balance, they're getting stops, and Herbert's playing some of the best football of his career. But what do you guys think? Are the Chargers for real at 2-0? Or are they just being overrated by the early hype? All right, guys, so welcome to the final factor crap of the day. And today we're tackling this one. Are the San Francisco 49ers actually the worst 2-0 team in the NFL this season? Fact or crap? Let's lay it out, guys. First off, if you look at the 49ers on paper, 2 wins, still undefeated, tied at the top of the NFC West. Normally, you'd say there's no way they're worst of the bunch. But once you start peeling back the layers, once you start looking at this team, once you start reading the games, there are some serious red flags. Quarterback play is already a question mark. Brock Purdy's dealing with multiple injuries, toe issues, shoulder problems that has kept him limited in practice. Mac Jones stepped in last week versus Saints. Yes. He threw 3 touchdowns. Yes. But the biggest question is whether that's sustainable. We've seen enough of Mac Jones in New England to know consistency is not his strength. And it's not the quarterback. The injuries are piling up. George Kittle is expected to miss a few more weeks. Brandon Ayuk is still sidelined. Their left guard is on IR, and that's just the offensive firepower gone or banged up. And we're only 2 weeks into the season. And then there's the red zone issues. The Niners have converted just 57% of their red zone trips into touchdowns, which puts them right in the middle of the league. For a team with Christian McCaffrey, you expect them to dominate inside the 20. Instead, McCaffrey has struggled to find running lanes and close quarters and to close them out, and it cost them points. Defensively, the story isn't much cleaner. They looked great at times. The numbers show cracks. They've given up on touchdowns on 2/3 of their opponent's red zone trips. That ranks outside the top 20 in defense success rate. And when quarterbacks have thrown against them, the passer rating allowed is well north of 100. Those aren't elite defensive metrics. Even if the big plays at key moments have masked their issues so far. Now, to be fair, there's a case to be made that their early season noise. It's a small sample size. Mac Jones did look comfortable in Conhan's system. The defense made timely plays. At the end of the day, winning ugly is still winning. But the question we're not answering is whether the 49ers are good or bad. It's whether they're the worst 2-0 team this season. Worse than the Rams, the Eagles, Chargers, Bills, Colts, Packers, or the Buccaneers, or even the Arizona Cardinals. So, guys, fact or crap, are the San Francisco 49ers the worst 2-0 team in the NFL? Guys, this is 100% fact. Right now, the 49ers are the worst 2-0 team in the NFL. Between quarterback uncertainty, the wave of injuries, the red zone efficiently, and defensive crafts, they look more fragile than every other undefeated squad in the NFL. If they don't get healthy and fix those issues fast, this record could start heading south fast. Do you guys agree? Are the 49ers the weakest 2-0 team in the NFL? Or would you put another undefeated team in their spot? Let me know down in the comments down